Good afternoon. Y'all, I wasn't here this morning, but this is our midday morning live with Evangelist Karen. So I want to give y'all this word really quick because I'm going to go on Clubhouse and I'm going to give this word as well. But for those of you who I know aren't on Clubhouse, so I just wanted you all to be participants in this word as well that are not on Clubhouse, but you're on Facebook and you're on Instagram. So the scripture comes from Joshua 5:6, and it says the Israelites had moved out of the wilderness in the wilderness for 40 years until all the men who were of military age when they left Egypt had died. For the Lord had sworn to them that they would not see the land he had solemnly promised their ancestors. That he has solemnly promised their ancestors, and that they would not dwell in the land flowing with milk and honey. So I want somebody to understand today that this is your season of the Genesis 12:2 promise. It says that those who he gave the promise to originally, that he told them they wouldn't see it because of their disobedience. So today I want you to know that there is crossover by association. I'm going to say that again. There is crossover by what? Crossover by association. If you're watching this now, like it, share it. If you're not watching this right now and you're watching the replay, #replay, this message is going to be about crossover by association. My God, somebody type in the comments, I'm a wilderness baby. See, here was a generation that died off before they could cross over. We're talking about a generation that did not receive the promise of God. We're talking about a generation of people that wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. But I want you to know that those children in Israel that were able to obtain and cross over into the promise, they benefit off of the labor of the generation before them. My God, we've got to get to the point where our children and our children's children can benefit off of the promise and the labor that we done before them. They don't have to fight giants that we had to fight because we defeated them. These children of Israel that crossed over into the promise, they benefited because of the failure of their bloodline. My God, who am I talking to? They benefited because of the failure of their bloodline. See, I need somebody to understand. You're a wilderness baby. You were born in the wilderness. You were born in a place of obscurity. Some of you were born in the wilderness and you were raised in the wandering to cross over by association. Somebody type in the comments, I'm crossing over by association. See, they crossed over because of the failure of their mother and fathers, which forwarded them access, my God, into the promise, which forwarded them which forwarded them to cross over, my God, by association. Here is the children. They crossed over just because they were associated. My God, they were kin to their family, their mothers and their fathers. Somebody say, I'm typing on La Basoya. Type in, I'm crossing over by association. My association with the Father gets me crossed over. My God, my bloodline, may have failed, but because I have kingship, my God, because I have relationship with the Father, I get to cross over by association. See, these were children of the adults of Israel. They were born and raised, my God, into the wilderness. They were born in the wilderness. They were born into a people that their mindsets were still in Egypt. My God, they were born into a wilderness place, into a place where there were people who missed the covenant. My God, they were born into a wilderness. They were born into a situation that they were raised into. They were raised up in this thing. They didn't know any better. They were there not because they wanted to be. They were born into it. Somebody type in the comments, I was born into it. I was born into it. See, the wilderness is simply a place that is uncultivated, a place that is uninhabitable, a place that is in is not a hospitable region. Wilderness place, my God. Uninhabited means a place that's not occupied or lived in by people. My God, they were born into a region that was unhospitable, which means that it was harsh and it was difficult to live in. My God, God, who am I talking to today? But there is a bloodline, that survived, my God, all of the uninhabitation, all the unhospitableness, all of the environment that they were born into, that they were raised into. They crossed over into the promise, my God. They survived 40 years of their ancestors' disobedience, my God, and they were forwarded, my God, the ability to cross over in the promise. Therefore, their ancestors, your parents, your grandparents, they didn't cross over, but because my son and my Kaya, because of your association, you get to cross over by association. It's time for you to follow Joshua. Somebody say, where's Joshua? Put in the comments, where's Joshua? Where is Joshua? Where is my Joshua? You gotta find Joshua so that you can cross over. Joshua will lead and guide you into the promises of God for this season. This is your Genesis 12:2 season. These children, they were born in the wilderness. My God, Messiah. I want to speak to a few people who were you were chosen to cross over the boundaries and the mindsets of your family. You are the ones, my God, who were chosen to carry and cross over your bloodline into the promise, my God. You are the one that was not limited by their bondage, my God, and they weren't limited. You weren't limited by the bondage. You weren't limited by your environment, but you are crossing over, my God, by association with the Father. Somebody type in the comments, I'm a wilderness baby. I'm a wilderness baby. Robashaya, I'm a wilderness baby. See, you didn't ask for it. You was born into it. You got access by association. Who are you associated with? My God, right today, who are you associated with in this season? Who are you associated with? The wilderness babies, their mindsets were not molded by their parents. It was not molded by their parents. It was not molded, my God, by their environment. My God, there was something about these wilderness babies, my God, that were being raised up. They understood, my God, that we got a promise and that we're going to cross over. We're not going to be limited by our parents' thinking, my God. We're not going to be limited by the way that our bloodline lives and acts, but we're going to cross over. In this season, we're going to cross over by association. That's why you gotta be careful who you're associated to in this season, because it can leave you in the wilderness. My God, they survived 40 years of a wilderness because they did not take on the mindset of those that were molded by the wilderness, that were molded by bondage. My God, somebody type in the comments, I'm a wilderness baby. I'm a wilderness baby. I'm a wilderness baby. They weren't molded by their parents. They weren't molded by the traditions. They didn't hold them back, nor were they being raised into an environment that they should have died. My God, they should have died. Why? Because we just said what the wilderness was. It was uninhabitable. My God, it was unpredictable. My God, there was nothing that was surviving in the wilderness. But these children that were born in the wilderness, they got to cross over by association. Are you a wilderness baby? That's my question to you on today. Are you a wilderness baby? What were you born into? Were you born into poverty? My God, what were you born into? Were you born into drugs and alcoholism? What were you born into? Were you born into poverty? My God, were you born into messed up mindsets? What were you born into? But I want you to understand, just because you were born into it don't mean that you can't cross over into the promises of God. These children, they were wilderness babies. They were born, my God, to survive. Are you born to survive? This is the season that you will survive. You will cross over out of the wilderness into the promise. You will cross over from the land of Egypt. You will cross over from the wilderness into the promise of God. If you're a wilderness baby, if you was born into some crazy stuff, if you were born my God, into a mindset where nobody really knew what they were doing. My God, and the Messiah, if you were born into an environment of disobedience and rebellion, if you were born into a wilderness, my God, on today, if you were born in the wilderness, my God, of obscurity, this is your season to come out. I declare that it is so. This is your Genesis 12:2 season. You were come out. You were born in the wilderness, but it is your season to come out. Somebody type in the comments, I'm a wilderness baby. I'm a wilderness baby. You were born into this thing. You didn't ask for it. You just were born into it. My God, on today, you didn't have to labor for it. You were born into riches. You didn't have to labor for it, but they don't understand that even being born into riches, sometimes all you want is peace, and all the money in the world that you were born into could never give you access to the peace that God can give you. Are you a wilderness baby? My God, what type of wilderness were you born in? You weren't Alabasoya. You didn't ask for this. You were born into the wilderness. You were born into obscurity. You were born into a place that was violent. You were born into a wilderness experience that you didn't ask for, but just by association. My God, somebody type in the comments, I'm associated with the Father. I'm associated with the Father, which means that I get to cross over just by association. Y'all type that in the comments. I get access by association. I've got access by association. And this is the season that I will begin to follow Joshua. My God, I will cross over. I will obtain it. I will live in it. I will breathe this thing. I will eat this thing, that I'm going to cross over because I'm associated with the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. My Father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. My God, somebody type in the comments, I'm crossing over. I'm crossing over. This is your season to come out of obscurity and come into the promises of God. Y'all know my book is out. Go ahead, get this book. I'm going to tell you, get it. Go on Amazon. You can probably get this thing within 2 days. Why? Because you want your mindset to be ready when you cross over. And that was the problem with those children of Israel. Their mindsets was not ready to cross over. You've got to learn about the pitfalls before the platform. You got to learn about what you're being born into. My God, you got to learn about what was processed while you were in the womb of obscurity. This is your season to come out of obscurity. This is your season, my God, to obtain the promises of God. This is your wilderness season, but you're coming out. Who am I talking to? Somebody type in the comments, I'm coming out. I'm coming out. This is the season where the wilderness can no longer hold you. My God, that mentality can never hold you. What people say will not hold you from crossing over. My God, you didn't ask for this, you were born into it. How many of you know today that sometimes you are born into some things, but just because you're born into it does not mean, my God, that you have to stay there. It is the season for you to elevate above that thing. It's your season to come out of the mindset of the wilderness and begin to walk in the promises of God. This is your Genesis 12:2 season. It's time for you to come out of the wilderness mentality. It's time to you to excel above what you could even ask or think. It is your time to come out of the wilderness. Somebody type, I'm a wilderness baby. If you're a wilderness kid, if you're a wilderness baby, that means one thing, that you are a survivor. They survived 40 years, my God, of being in the wilderness. My God, on today, are you a survivor? Are you a wilderness kid? Will you obtain the promise that God said before the foundations of the earth that he predestined you to? Their parents were in tradition. Their parents were stuck in Egypt, but they didn't allow the mindset of their fathers or their mothers, my God, to affect them crossing over into the promise. My God, sometimes when you're born into something, it's all all you know, but it's time to renew your mind. My God, it's time to renew your mindset. It's time for you to cross over. It's time for you to come out of obscurity. It's time for you to come out from amongst them and begin to walk in the promises of God for your life, your children's lives, and your children's lives. Somebody type in the comments, I'm a wilderness kid. This is my season to come out from amongst them. I will not limit my mindset. I will not be stuck in bondage in this season. It is my time to come out. I am a wilderness baby. I was born in obscurity. I was born in poverty. I was born in the messed up mindset. I was born into alcoholism. I was born into prostitution. I was born into low self-esteem. My God, I was born into some things that thought it was going to shape and mold me. But I declare today that I'm a wilderness baby. I am a survivor, and I will cross my bloodline over into the promise. My God, I will cross over into the promise of God in this season. There will be nothing that can hold you back from obtaining a promise. There will be nothing that can hold you back from receiving what is yours. You just got to understand that no matter what, you got to cross over. My God, your environment does not define you. Traditions does not define you. There are so many denominations and churches. They think they're crossing over, but they really stuck. They don't understand that they're going around in the wilderness. They don't understand that they saw that rock before. They don't understand that they saw that tree before. And they think that they're advancing, but they're advancing standing still. My God, they're advancing and they're going around and around and around in the same thing. See, sometimes that's why those children had to die. Why? They had to die so that the new thing could come forth. My God, Moses died and Joshua, who was the new leader, came forth. My God, what today? They so stuck in their mindset, so stuck in their tradition that they can't usher in and pave the way for the new thing. But I declare that there are some John the Baptist that are getting ready, my soul, to come out of the wilderness and lead people into the kingdom. My God, open the way for the King of Kings in this season. This is the season that they will come into the promise of God. I bless you all. I pray to God that this blessed you. Somebody type for me one more time. I'm a wilderness kid, and this is my season that I cross over. My God, and I'm crossing over by association. Y'all meet me on Clubhouse. I'm going to give some more of this word again. Go get my book, Out of Obscurity, the Genesis 12:2 promise. Go get that book from Amazon today. I pray that it bless you. I pray that you get it before you cross over into the season, because there are some things that you need to know, that you need to understand before you cross over. So I pray again that this blessed you all. Have an awesome week. I pray that your Christmas was blessed. I pray that your New Year's is blessed. And we decree and declare this is our crossover season, and I'm crossing over by association with the King. God bless you all. Have an awesome week.